Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel Waldorf. If you are new here, hello. I am a Seattle-based vlogger, and sometimes I do sit-down videos like this. So today we are going to be talking about how much money you should have saved up in order to move to Seattle, Washington. This was a highly requested video, so I hope that you enjoy it. If you do, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe if you aren't already. Let's just get into the video. I want to just start off by saying that the more money you have, the better, right? I know that might seem like duh, I know that, but obviously the more money you have saved up, the better your experience is going to be out here. But I know all too well that it can be very hard to save up money, especially when you're working at a shit job. Or if you just graduated college and you're broke, I get it. So first of all, I just want to give you guys a little bit of backstory on when I moved out here and how much money I had and all that shit, because I feel like I get asked about it all the time, and let's just talk about it. Okay, so when I moved out here, I had $1,700, maybe a little bit more, maybe $1,700 to $1,800 when I moved out here. And I also did not have a job. I just knew that after college I needed to get out of the Midwest and I needed to be here. So I took everything that I had and I tried selling most of my stuff because I knew I couldn't bring it with, and I moved out here. So I really did not have that much money. Okay, so I'm gonna go on Instagram and pull up some of you guys' questions. That way I can answer them, and then I'll kind of go through what else I have. So, okay. So a lot of you guys probably know this already, but Seattle is not the cheapest city to move to. It's obviously not the most expensive city either, but it's definitely getting up there. And I think it's a good question to ask, like, how much money should you have when you move here? The more money, the better, but that's not the case with everybody. Obviously, I had $1,700 in my account and I made it work. So I know that if you guys are freaking out about money, like, if I can make it work, I know you can make it work too, but you need to believe that and you need to know yourself well enough to know that you can make it work. How much money would you recommend having in your savings for when you first move out there in case you don't get a job right away? So a lot of people are worried that they aren't going to get jobs right away if they move out here. I was worried. I was like, what am I going to do? First of all, do not let pride get in the way of what kind of job you get. I feel like when people graduate college, they right away think like, okay, I need to get a job that's in my field. Otherwise, it's like I'm a failure, right? Like, I totally get the feeling, but the thing is, you need to like put your pride aside for a second and realize that you just made a huge move and you can get a job being a server or a bartender or work at Nordstrom's like I did when I first moved out here. Like, don't let pride get in the way of getting a job. Like, just get a job. Have income coming in. That way you can still apply for other jobs, if that makes sense. So the big question is, how much money do you need in order to move out here? And my answer to that is, obviously it depends on your case, but I would say have at least $2,000 when you move out here. Okay, so there's a lot of questions here. How much money should you take with you after paying the deposit of your apartment and all your move-in fees? I think what they're asking is, when you move out here, a lot of places you have to put down a deposit for the place you want to get, and there's a lot of little fees that come along with that. So like, let's just say you're gonna rent an apartment, you come out here, you put the deposit down. Sometimes landlords ask for like first month's rent, last month's rent, and like a security deposit, and if you have a pet, they ask for pet money. There's a lot of money that can be thrown down with getting an apartment here. But I feel like after that, there's not like a ton of fees that you have to worry about. So have a place set when you get here, but when you arrive here and like get into your place, have $2,000 in your bank account, if that made sense. What are some things that most people forget about taking into consideration when moving to Seattle? Unexpected moving fees from the state of Washington. So I don't think people take into consideration like sales tax. Sales tax in Washington, in Seattle specifically, is 9.6%, which might be a lot to you, might not be a lot to you, but that adds up a lot. I remember when we first moved here, I felt it really hard. I was like, oh, that sounded dirty. It feels like more than 9.6%. Like, it feels like a good chunk of money you're paying extra for. So definitely take into consideration that sales tax here is 9.6%, which can sometimes hurt. Let me move on to another question. Like, what is the cost of being an official Washington resident? And it's a good question, but it's not like an exciting answer. So basically you just need to have a place to live where people can send you mail. That way you can go to the DMV, get a driver's license, bring that piece of mail in and be like, hey, here's proof that I live in Washington with my name and my address on this piece of mail. Make me a Washington resident. That's what you have to do. And as far as how much that costs, I don't know if they've raised the price, but when I got my license, I think it was like $88 or so. It was like between $80 and $100. And that's just for your most basic license. You can definitely get there's like a newer license too, and that costs a little bit more. So keep that into consideration when you become a Washington resident. That costs $80+. I want to say like $90. And if you go to the DMV, bring cash. Otherwise, they like charge you a fee to use a card. So bring cash or bring a check. Another thing to keep in mind is that the minimum wage for Washington is $11. And although that might seem like a lot, it's not a lot of money because the living out here is crazy. Like if you've watched my housing video, like you know that it's expensive to live here, and $11, in my humble opinion, is not enough money to live in Seattle, Washington, but that is the minimum wage. I would definitely shoot for getting a job where you can make like $15 at least. $11, although it might be higher than some states, it's not really that high. They really should raise it. So if there's one takeaway I want to leave you guys with, it's that first of all, do not let fear stop you from doing what you want to do. And two, there's no price tag I can put on Seattle. Like, what's the perfect price you can save up to live here? Look, you know yourself better than anybody, and you know how you spend money, how you save money. Like, be very honest with yourself. How long will that amount of money suffice for me to live until I run out of money? So yeah. Okay guys, that kind of concludes this video. I hope that you learned something, and I hope that you took something away from this video. There's a lot of people moving to Seattle, and I always love knowing like what kind of videos you guys want to see. So please, if you have any video suggestions, leave them in the comments below. I would very much appreciate it. I do a lot of these videos, so make sure that you follow me on Instagram. That's where I answer all of your questions. I don't have Snapchat anymore. I deleted that. So definitely feel free to DM me on Instagram, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Anyways guys, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!